Alright guys, so in this video today, I'm going to be sharing with you guys 7 things that I did wrong at my first wedding. So 7 things that I did wrong at my first wedding. So let's go. So number one, what I did wrong at my first wedding is I didn't dress accordingly. I didn't have dress shirts or shoes at the time of my first wedding because how I got into weddings is I used to, I used to be a musician. So I wanted somebody to shoot my music videos. And music videos were expensive. I was in New York City at the time, and music videos were expensive. So I was like, why don't I just, buy my own camera and shoot my own music videos? So that's what I did. I bought my first camera. It was the Nikon D3100. Okay, Nikon D3100. And I didn't, that was, this was like 2013, 2012. So long story short, because this is a long story. Anyway, so I didn't have, dress shirts. I didn't have dress shoes for weddings because I was unprepared. And yeah, I was unprepared because when I posted on Craigslist to shoot people's wedding videos, because at the time I started getting, into the whole music video shooting thing. So somebody hit me up and was like, "Oh, can you do my wedding?" So I was like, "A wedding?" I was like, I watched the video on YouTube or watched a wedding highlight, and I was like, this looks easy, This looks easier than a music video. So that's how I got into weddings, because somebody was like, "Oh, can you do my wedding video?" When I was promoting, advertising for music videos, shoot music videos. Somebody asked me if I could do their wedding video. So I did their wedding. And everything is history from that day. So my first wedding is, I didn't dress accordingly. So that was the first thing that I did wrong at my first wedding. I wasn't dressed for the wedding. I was dressed casual and everybody else was dressed formal. Yeah. And number 2, what I did wrong at a wedding is I only had one camera. So I have a video on the triangle formula, how to shoot a wedding using the triangle formula, and the triangle formula requires that you have 3 cameras. And my first wedding, I only had one camera because I didn't know that what a triangle formula was. I didn't know I was gonna need 3 cameras, So, or even 2. I mean, 1 is good, but you can't really do that good with 1 camera. So I only had 1 camera, which is, you shouldn't do that, guys. You shouldn't have only 1 camera. At least have 2. Even if the other one is a GoPro, at least have 2 cameras, or 3, the best, as recommended. Number 3, I only had 1 battery. So only 1 battery, and the battery died on me during the ceremony. So 1 camera, 1 battery dies on me during the ceremony. So the good thing is the photographer at that wedding had 2 bodies. So she gave me one of her bodies, and that's what I used to shoot the rest of the wedding. Well, my battery was charging, so it was tragic. It was tragedy. It was just like unprofessional. I didn't know any better. I didn't know any better. I didn't know I needed more than 1 camera. It's a wedding. They want a videographer. Okay, so I'm bringing my camera. I didn't know you gotta bring your cameras. So don't just have 1 camera, guys. I had 1 camera and 1 battery. It was a disaster, guys. Have multiple cameras, have multiple batteries, especially if you're shooting Sony. Have at least 20 batteries if you're shooting Sony. Yeah, I got a bunch of Sony batteries. I got like 16, but I wish I had like 20, but yeah. So that's one, two, three, four. So number four is I only had one SD card, and it was a 16 gigabyte card, and I didn't know I would need more than that. I didn't should have. This was my first wedding, so I didn't know I'm gonna need like, you know, 128 gigabytes. So I went with the 16 gigabyte, and yeah, I regretted that pretty quick. I was regretting that. So that's the mistake I made. So number five is I didn't take B-roll footage. I didn't take B-roll shots. That's number five. I didn't take B-roll shots. So are B-roll shots mandatory? No, they're not. Are they recommended to take? Yes, they're very recommended to take. I recommend you take B-roll shots. I dare you not to take B-roll shots. Like right now, I can't shoot a wedding without taking B-roll shots. It's just like, I just can't. You need B-roll shots, guys. You need B-roll shots. So my first wedding, I didn't even know what a B-roll was, because I was just getting into film. I didn't know what a B-roll was. Like, what the hell is a B-roll? So everything I'm self-taught. I taught myself everything. So I'm just, in case like you're about to shoot your first wedding, you need to take B-roll shots, guys. This video is going to be very helpful to you if you're shooting your first wedding or if you're about to shoot your first wedding. So one was dress appropriately. Two was have more than one camera. Three was have more than one battery. Four was don't have a freaking 8 gigabyte card or just one card. Have at least like 2 or 3 64 gigabyte or even 32 gigabytes, depending on what you're shooting. If you're shooting 4K. So number five, I didn't take any B-roll shots. So that was my fault. I was dumb for that. I didn't know. I should have done my research on what B-roll was. I didn't know what B-roll. Number six, I didn't do any research on the venue. So the good thing is, the wedding was only 2 hours, and it was only the ceremony and just a little bit of the reception after the ceremony, actually. Yeah, it was like a little bit of a reception, because I remember like for the cake cutting, I didn't have any footage. I used pictures for the video because I ran out of space. So yeah, that happened. I put photos in place of video because I didn't have the video footage. Remember, my card ran out. I had a 16 gigabyte. So I ended up using the photographer's pictures for the cake. And just, it was a tragedy, guys. So that's what I did. So number six is do research. Like I didn't do any research on the venue, but I recommend now that you do as much research as you can on the venue you're going to be shooting at. Do research on the venue. Just see what other people have shot there. See what kind of footage they took from that place. So that way, you can be better prepared when you go there, when you have more information. The more information you have, the better. So, do research on the venue, guys. Do research on the venue. Number seven is I didn't have a contract. This was a handshake deal, and I really recommend you guys don't do any handshake deals. You need to have everything written in contract, because if they decide not to pay you, then guess what? You don't have it in contract where it's signed that they have to pay you. So put together a contract, and I've done a video on what to put in your contract and all that stuff. I'll link the video up there somewhere. So yeah, guys, you need a contract. I didn't have a contract for my first wedding because I didn't know any better, guys. I just wanted to do it. I was just excited that somebody booked me and they were paying me $200 to shoot a 2-hour event, which ended up being like 4 hours, But yeah. And the bonus point here is don't assume, guys. Always ask, because assuming won't take you anywhere, guys. Assuming won't help you. Assuming will just like ruin you. You know, instead of assuming, you always need to ask. Ask the bride and groom also when you guys get to the ceremony. How are you guys gonna get in? Where are you gonna stand? If you don't know that stuff already, you need to, ask. Don't always assume. Also, what comes after the cake cutting is, does this come, like, if you don't have the schedule? Always ask, always ask. At a wedding, you always need to ask. Be, communicative with the bride and groom, with the wedding coordinator, planner, whatever she wants to call, he wants to call themselves. But always communicate and always ask and get everything, everything situated. Because if you just assume, you're gonna lose. That's how I put it. If you assume, you're gonna lose. So always assume, always. So always ask. So guys, that's it for today. Hope you guys enjoyed the video, and be sure to subscribe to my channel, and I really appreciate it. And make sure you give this video a like, guys. If you watch to the end, you might as well, click the like button, guys. It's not gonna hurt you. It's not gonna cost you anything. All you gotta do is click the like. Thank you for watching, guys. Appreciate it, guys. Till the next video.